with a paper towel roll, flatten it, just as shown here. When it's nice and flat, we can then measure from the base about 2 centimeters. This will be the distance from the axle to the actual tabletop or surface of the floor. So here I am marking out 2 centimeters from the bottom on one side, and I was then trying to mark out on the other side as well. And here I was getting a bit confused. Hang on, where did I stop my measurement at? So I thought it was there, but let me double check. Check the other end. How far did I measure? Oh, it was 2 centimeters from the start of the ruler, so I confirmed that. And then after that, 2.5 centimeters roughly from the edges. Just roughly, yeah, 2.5 centimeters. Then after that, with a pair of scissors, make sure you have something to put at the bottom of your material. With a pair of scissors, try and puncture a hole. I did have to use a bit of force and a bit of twisting and turning, but it did get through in the end. I've obviously not lined up my scissors to the right point, so make sure you take care when you're doing yours. I found that this did not affect my overall razor anyway. When you're doing this step, you basically just want to make enough of a dent onto the other side of the tube, just like I've shown you here. And then you want to line up your scissors on the other point that you marked out, the opposite end of your tube. Because the cardboard is not too thick, it should be able to get through both sides, and that way make sure that the axle hole is aligned. Then I'm going to reshape my paper towel tube. Now with my axle with one wheel already attached for the front wheel, I'm going to put this feed this axle through the hole, and hopefully it can come out through the other side. Then you might want to test the spin. See, it's quite snug at the moment, so I'm going to use my scissors to make my hole a little bit wider so the axle can spin freely. Let's try again. So lots of experimentation. At this stage, you should be also taking photos so that all these steps are part of your production process. Then I'm just trying to make this tube less flat. I'm going to feed the back wheels in. If you know, this is how I tried to make the hole a bit bigger. The axle rod. Perfect. Now attach the other wheels, the back wheels with the axle. Might be a bit fiddly at first. And we have now got a working car. Of course, the axles can be trimmed to size once you've decided on the final width of your car. Now with the shorter rubber bands, if you have enough, link actually 3 of these. I started off with 3, but actually we need 4. I add a 4th one later, so if you want to do it, add your 4th one now, that's okay, you don't have to wait for me. So that's how you link them together. Then you want to tie a knot at the front axle, so attach the rubber band. So what I've done here is I've actually removed the whole axle to show you how to do it. If you're confident with this sort of attachment, you don't actually need to remove the axle. But I just wanted you, if you've never done this before, it might be a good idea to take the axle out, have a couple of goes attaching your rubber band chain to this, So follow what I'm doing and loop the end through the start of your rubber band chain. Tighten, make sure it's secure, and you see how I can't actually feed this in easily, so I'm going to just remove it. Again, put my axle in first, and then for the last time attach my rubber band chain and feed the axle through on the other side so that my rubber band stays in the middle, in the center of the axle. Attach the wheel, so we're secure now. Okay, brilliant. Next, so this is one way to just, basically this is like the power of your rubber band car. Now on the other end, what we want to do here, I think this is the point where I realize, hang on a minute, I need one more rubber band. So I grab another one and make it a little bit longer, and hopefully when I jiggle it through this down the center of the tube, it should meet me on the other end. And yes, it does. I think I had to look for it for a bit, but I found it eventually. There it is. Woohoo! Now, how am I going to attach the end of the rubber band to the back axle? Well, this is where we use the cable tie. Attaching the cable tie, you want it to snap, like you should hear a zipping. That's why I guess it's zip tie. If you hear no sound when you're pulling it through, it means you're not doing it the right way. Flip it over and do it again, and you should hear the satisfying that. So pull it as tight as you can, and once it's tightened as much as you can, then with a pair of scissors, trim off the excess and leave roughly about that much, as I've shown, like maybe what, half a centimeter, because that's going to be like your little hook to grab onto the rubber band chain. Next, feed the back axle in and feed the cable tie bit in as well before you push the axle through to the other side. You put it in there so it's there to help hook onto the rubber band. And now my back wheel is ready to be reassembled. And there we go. Now we need to add some traction to the back wheel. So with the rubber band, whatever rubber band you have really, just tie a few loops around your back wheel like I'm doing now. So depending on the length of your rubber band, you might need 2 to 3 rounds around the back wheel. And you want to repeat the same thing on the other side with another rubber band as well. So this is like your tires.